Deepti Laurent is with me on the set for a look at what the papers are saying today. Hi, Deepti.
Hi, Judy.
You're going to start with the political situation that's just gotten more complicated in Spain.
That's right. This after right-wing and Catalan separatist lawmakers rejected the 2019 budget proposal presented by the Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez on Wednesday. The socialist leader was really depending on those votes to push through his draft. He's now expected to decide by Friday whether he'll be calling an election. Just after 8 months in office, Sanchez faces a dilemma now, according to the conservative Spanish paper ABC. Either he calls an election or he faces a vote of confidence.
And Sanchez has certainly been getting some scathing criticism in the papers.
Well, he's been heavily criticized for what many papers see as him pandering to the Catalan independent separatists in a bid to stay in power. There's one piece from that same paper, ABC, in which the writer calls Sanchez a, quote, pompous swelling of himself, a man without historical references who believes that he's writing history. It's a little extremist, this piece, because the writer even goes as far as saying that Sanchez's, quote, policy of appeasement with the Catalan independence fighters is not even comparative to that of Chamberlain with the Nazis in 1938. So very, very strong words there. It's also garnered criticism from El País, another Spanish daily, noting that the political situation is so strange in Spain that nobody actually wants an election, and yet nobody's been able to do anything to prevent an election from likely happening.
You've also found reaction, Deepti, in the Philippines after the arrest of a high-profile journalist there.
Yeah, that journalist is Maria Ressa. She's a CEO of Rappler, which is a website in the Philippines. She's just been released on bail after spending the night in prison. She's a prominent journalist. She's also a vocal opponent of President Rodrigo Duterte, Jeannie. She's actually facing charges of cyber libel, which roughly amounts to defamation. Her supporters say they're trumped-up charges to silence a voice of dissent in the country. Human Rights Watch Asia has called this a sad day for the press freedom of the Philippines, adding that the charges are really punishment for the website's coverage of Duterte's war on drugs that's seen thousands of Filipinos killed arbitrarily. In today's editorial, The Guardian reminds us that Ressa's case is far from the only one in the world. Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi, of course, was murdered last year. A journalist from Ghana who exposed football corruption was shot dead earlier this month. There were 2 Afghan journalists murdered just last week. Many, many more silenced by violence, threats, and harassment.
Something completely different now, Deepti. You've got quite a bit of animal news on the press review. Let's start with the spotting of an extremely rare black panther in Kenya.
Yeah, these shots are amazing. Wildlife photographer Will Bird Lucas, he shot these incredible stills of an elusive black panther at Laikipia Wilderness Camp in Kenya recently. It's the first sighting in pretty much a century, Jeannie. It's believed to be that of a 2-year-old male black panther. Black panthers are incredibly elusive. They're very secretive. It's hard to get a sighting. And what's interesting is they actually belong to the leopard family, but there's only a small percentage of quote-unquote black panthers, and it's actually due to a gene mutation that makes their fur look black during the day, but under infrared light actually makes them, they do have the same rosette patterns as that of other leopards.
I didn't know that. Yeah. All right, staying on that topic, you've got some winning shots to show us from the Wildlife Photographer of the Year Awards.
That's right. There are a lot of these kind of awards. So these ones are from the British Natural History Museum. It's a People's Choice Awards. David Lloyd's picture of 2 lion brothers nuzzling each other in Tanzania took out the top prize. But you do see some other notable mentions there. Vanden Hever's fighting penguins in the Falkland Islands. There's also a really cute red fox meeting its artistic match, and a very, very heartbreaking snap of a emaciated polar bear foraging for food on an iceless piece of land. As they say, a picture does tell 1,000 words.
It certainly does. All right, just to wrap up now on a lighter note, Deepti, you've got your heart shirt on. It's Valentine's Day, and romance is even flourishing in the animal kingdom.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we have Tinder or Grindr for those of us who use that. But have you heard of Tudder? Jeannie, Tudder, this Valentine's Day, is a new dating app coming out, dating or rather mating app for bovines, launching just in time for Valentine's Day. So obviously the cows don't swipe. The farmers swipe left or right on cattle that they fancy as potential mates for their own livestock. You know, why can't cows get a little bit of action on Valentine's Day?
And I guess we should say the cows aren't swiping yet. Who knows what the future will bring,
That's
Deepti.
right.
Thank you for that, Deepti Gurlon, with that look at the press review today on this Valentine's Day. Don't forget, you can get a closer look on our website. The address is france24.com.